sort of carol-y ones necessarily as much. Some of them I don't like, but nothing's leaping out other than the Rumpa Pum Pum one.
Rumpa Pum Pum, there you go. Okay, Langers goes on to say, Rugby League...
and the ending of the John Lennon one, where it's like, Merry Christmas, John, Merry Christmas, John.
Yeah,
that's annoying.
Exactly, yeah.
The rest of it's great, but that bit's annoying.
Yeah, I'm glad he got shot. Okay,
Just such
I don't mean it. You're a couple of good songs. He's a better singer than Paul McCartney. That's the nicest thing I can think of to say about him at the minute.
Do you think he would come across as being quite as obnoxious as Paul McCartney often comes across as being?
Oh, God, no.
Now.
No, Paul
Because he did have, like, obviously his sort of hippie sleeping stuff and all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I think by the time he'd got through that...
If he'd survived, if he'd not got shot... I think he would have
been like a reasonable, thought-provoking kind of social commentator.
Yeah,
whereas Paul McCartney is just like, hey, let's sing my song, and then everyone can remember I've got a song, and then you can go and buy stuff. Yay!
Exactly. Yeah, no one's playing Mulligan. Yeah. Definitely. No, I agree. I'm just trying not to speak ill of the dead anymore because... Yeah, if I... Yeah.
Okay, Langers...
Could have swapped him over, that'd have been...
Langers also
been ideal, really, wouldn't it?
Shall we maybe... I'll see if I can get that Christmas CD out of the car. No, I'm not going to be bothered.
Don't get carried away.
No.
Okay,
Langers also says, Rugby League 13 comprises of alcoholic drinks. He says, Guinness at loose forward as your starter.
Okay, well, Stella has to be the front row.
Well... I've had a big think about this one. And Guinness is not being in my loose forward position because I want my loose forward to be a more traditional loose forward.
Right.
I think of Guinness as strong, sturdy, iron. Can be in my front row.
Yeah.
But I want my loose forward to be a strong hoppy IPA, full-bodied, full-flavoured, full of everything you want.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
This is as impassioned as I've seen you look.
Because basically I'm picturing Sean O'Loughlin jumping out of a Jaipur IPA bottle.
Christ
but
alive.
that's what I want an all, because maybe I've been spoiled with my, team of our loose forwards being, O'Loughlin, Farrell,
I would suggest
Clark, and
you've had 25 years of being spoiled with loose forwards, yeah.
So I see them as more, maybe Champagne players, but not quite. Champagne is a fullback, obviously.
Yeah.
So in my front row, I would have a Guinness, and I would have something like a port.
Right.
Again, something quite strong, something quite robust.
Yeah.
A robust port.
Yeah.
My second row, they'd be kind of just your normal bitters, because I want my second rows to not let me down.
Yeah.
So that sort of 4.4 to 4.5% bitter that you can always rely on. It's going to taste the same everywhere, and it's going to taste nice everywhere. That's what my second rows would be. My hooker might be a Stella, because I want my hooker to have a bit more fight in him.
Right.
So, I want him to have a bit of fizz and a bit of bubble, so that's why it's a lager. So a strong European lager is what I was thinking for my hooker.
Okay.
Then, in your halves, you want... one of them needs to be a gin and tonic, I think. Something timeless, classy, crisp.
Right.
With a twist.
Yeah.
Something that's...
With a twist.
Got a bit of everything there. And I'm not sure which way I'd go then. Maybe I'd go for something a little bit more flamboyant, like a rosé wine or something alongside. So again, fruity, flavoursome, strong, kind of can do a bit of everything as well, skill-wise.
Yeah.
It's a red grape, but it tastes like a white one. all that
fucking hell.
All that business.
Right.
Then obviously your wingers you want to be like aftershocks or some sort of shot that does the business quickly.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I couldn't really, and like your fullback, like I say, will be a champagne or a prosecco or something like that.
Yeah.
The only thing I couldn't really decide was a centre, so finish the 11 for me.
There you go.
What would a centre be? A normal strength lager?
You want some
cider, fruit cider. There you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Centres are a transitional player, aren't they? So they need to be able to do a lot of things. And when you know yourself on a night out, I have a transitional drink that I go to from like having had a couple of beers into kind of the Jack Daniels and Coke territory where I know where I'm at. And that drink for me is generally something like a fruity cider or a lager and black. So there you go. That's it. My front row, pints of Stella at 8 and 10. Definitely. I just want mindless aggression. I've got a Jaeger bomb at hooker. Just because you want something that's going to, for a lot of the same reasons.
And you're going to spell the hooker then, aren't you?
Exactly.
I was thinking still can do 80 minutes as a strong European lager. Nice. You're thinking spell my hookers.
Spell my hooker, absolutely. I want a couple of nice red wines in second row as well.
Not a bad shout.
Something sturdy, something robust, something classic, something that you're always going to enjoy taking on, and something that always does the job. The halves, Coke and Jack Daniels, because separately they're all right, but when you combine the two, you get that perfection for me. So Jack Daniels and glass of Coke and a glass of Jack Daniels.
Problem you've got, if Jack gets injured, Coke ain't going to win you a game, is
This
he?
is the problem with Jack Daniels and Coke, is that if you have two Cokes or two Jack Daniels...
And if you bring a Jaeger bottle to
listen, if Coke's injured and you've got two Jack Daniels in the house and you end up with pints of wine at fullback, which is what I've gone for. I want a good old-fashioned pint of wine at fullback or an absinthe. So there you go. Yeah, perfect. Ollie Smith says, what are the best and worst games of rugby league you have attended? His would be the England-New Zealand World Cup semi-final, and the worst was the humiliating defeat of Barrow that Cass suffered in the 2010 Challenge Cup. Mark, what have you come up with?
I was lucky to not attend any of the absolute horror shows of the sort of Millwood era, so the thrashing at Saints, I was at Glastonbury, the thrashing at Leeds, I was away somewhere.
Saints beating you at the DW in that period as
These are the ones, I mean, these big losses that we had to them during Ari and Millwood. Wiggins were in, so I wasn't at those games. So I would think, well, the grand final when your lot battered us was that 2000 or 2001?
2001.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was the 2001 was the first year I went to a lot of games that year. The 2001 one was the first year I had a season ticket. I think. Around that time, so both of those two finals were pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The best might be, well, pick a final.
Any grand final, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's 2002 Challenge Cup final meant a lot because it was the first Challenge Cup final I ever was in person to see us win. And we hadn't won anything for a while, and I thought we played great on the day. There was great storylines around it. The team we had at the time was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the spirit and all that was really good. So probably that, or when Blackpool Panthers beat Whitehaven in the Cup, that was a great game.
There you go. Well, again, it's easy to pick your best ones because it's just any of the grand final wins, so I was kind of steered clear of that. And actually what I came up with are both Wigan and Bulls games, and both games that you and I have attended together in some capacity, as it transpires. The worst one was when you bent us over and spanked us, and I was so full on that I cancelled the podcast.
Oh God, yeah,
that was a bad day. And
84-4.
84. It was, you did us more than a point.
Ryan Sutton scored a try on his debut, didn't he? Yeah. That was his first ever game, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how bad we were. But my favourite one was also at the DW when we beat you when we were going bust. And Ainscough got over for a try, and Tom Burgess got over for a try, and contrived not to knock on quite so much. And we were beating you at half time, and we held on to win. That was a good day. That was a good day in a really shit period of time to be a Bulls fan.
I forgot my real worst.
All right.
That Yorkshire-Lancashire game at Odsal in the pissing rain when we lost 50-4.
That's a great day for Yorkshire, that wasn't it?
That was a good question. I like that one.
Yes.
That's one people can send us answers into, and we'll enjoy seeing those. Dr. Bob Phillips, he said, what can be done to make refereeing a decent choice for more men and women?
Well, it starts at the top and works down for me. This is a trickle-down kind of thing. Just the general level of respect that we, as a group of people, show referees from a sporting point of view, not just within rugby league, but within all sports, I think, are struggling to attract more referees. And I think you need to come at it from 2 points of view. I think we need to enforce stringently any kind of punitive measures that are taken against people who are outwardly disrespectful to the referees from the top level, but then also do the same from the grassroots level as well, and really work with parents and fans of grassroots open age teams as well to encourage this idea of respecting and looking at the referees as humans. I mean, look at the abuse that Matt Chechin has suffered that has been so great to the point where one of the men who were probably most inclined to feel like a victim of it, Andrew Fafita, has to come out on Twitter and say, for fuck's sake, stop sending death threats to referees. It's over. It's a game. And I think
someone who actually went on the pitch and knocked out a referee is coming out to say that.
Yeah, well, clearly he's learned his lesson, Mark.
But
if the barometer of good behaviour is a Fafita, then it tells me that people are doing things
behind.
People are doing things wrong. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's the crucial thing is giving them their due, and it's really important for me that coaches and players don't. I'm not saying don't question decisions, but don't criticise the referees who are applying the rules or that are doing their best in the situation they're in. And if you say something that is wrong, come out and clarify it and say, I'm the one that was wrong, the referee was the one that was right.
Yeah.
Any of these coaches need to be doing that. The press need to stop asking questions about refereeing decisions. And we need to stop analysing refereeing decisions in a negative context. I'm not saying just say they're all right all the time and all of that, but I'm saying don't make the refereeing decision the focus. Make the offence that was committed or that sort of stuff. And I'm not saying don't highlight errors, talk about them, but don't make them the reason, the focus. And actually, like very recently, as in Sunday night, my NFL team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, have been involved in one of the biggest news stories in America because of a refereeing thing. And I've not got a problem with the referees that were applying the rule that they were applying was flawed. The way that they've been sort of taught to micro-analyse the way these plays happen is wrong. So I can't actually say the officials making that call are the problem. It's the structure that they're performing in, where such tiny things that aren't obvious on first viewing, and only when you really slow it down do you get a sense of it, and you're still not certain, and yet they're making a decision because of the way a rule has been told to them to be interpreted. And it's stuff like that. Now, we've done a good job of getting around that with, say, stuff like how the obstruction rule's now treated a lot better. How double movements are always viewed in full speed and stuff like that. So I think it's about celebrating, actually, that we do things right. We do try and progress things. And when we do have a problem with something that's happened, try and make things better rather than just lashing out at the people involved in the incident. I think is the way to make refereeing a more wholesome and rewarding and more obvious experience for people to want to go towards.
Agreed. Okay.
That's something we care a lot about on the Super League pod.
Definitely. Something else we care about is food. What is the difference, Dr. Hideous asks us, between a pie and a tart? And which ground has the best pies? Well, a pie is covered, surely. A tart
pie has a lid and a tart has a base.
Exactly.
In terms of the best pies, the best pie I've had in Super League is the steak and ale pie at St Helens.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I would say that's the best pie I've had in Super League.
Best pie and best beer I've had in Super League have come at St Helens, I think, as well. That Saints Gold was as good a beer as I've had at a rugby league ground.
No, because some of the grounds you can get like ale at the bar.
Yeah, these days.
Twickenham Stoop had a decent
well, I haven't been to that one, so in my experience, Saints has got the best pie and beer.
Fair enough.
They are okay.
So pie has a lid, a tart doesn't.
Yeah, okay. I think so. Chris McKeown. This is going to provoke some discussion, and has done, in fact, amongst our listeners. What is your favourite or most used Simpsons quote?
Yeah, it's one of the ones I fired out because, to be honest, they don't spring to mind. I'm not a huge Simpsons watcher these days. It's about 10 years since I've regularly, properly watched The Simpsons.
Same for me, but most that's where I get mine from.
So what are the ones that we've had sent in? Okay,
well, Phil Naden said, all right, Brain, I don't like you and you don't like me, but let's just do this and then I can go back to killing you with beer. Obviously Homer. Langer's is more of a niche one, because it's not a main character, I don't think, and his is, "'Tis a fine barn, English, 'tis a swimming pool, but it's a fine barn." So I assume that's from an episode that involved the Amish community. Mark Wilco says, I think I've used everything's coming up Wilkinson at least twice when contacting this show. It gets used more than I care to admit. Okay. And Mike Dodd 22, been a while, says, I'm assuming you guys know about the Simpsons quote of the day on Twitter.
I didn't, but I found out about it before he sent us this, during this questioning phase.
Yeah, well, I do follow it, but this is one of my favourites as well. It's superb comedy. His favourite quote is, "Now, what is a wedding? Well, Webster's Dictionary defines a wedding as the process of removing weeds from one's garden," which absolutely creased me. And we've got one more. Mark Butler. Oh, look at me. I'm making people happy. I'm the magical man in Happy Land in his gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane. There you go. So do you have a favourite or most used Simpsons quote?
No.
I have both. I have a favourite and a most used.
I use a lot of Friends quotes, I would say, on a regular basis.
The one I use most regularly is the one that comes from the episode when there's been some sort of leak at the park.